So I'm going to paint my Analogous, and you're probably not going to like me because I'm going to do a lot of painting on the paper or mixing on the board, not painting on a palette. Analogous is colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So I've chose like the violet section, which is red to blue, and you're going to mix white and black with them. So I just lay them set out here. And I have another blue that's all blue. I bought these little containers at the dollar store at Family Dollar they were like $1 for a big set of, I think 10. So I got 2 sets of them. I have some round sets and I have some square sets. So I use the square sets for mixed colors and I use the round sets for like straight colors. And I break all the rules I set for you guys, but I figure since I'm the teacher I get to. I took, and you're probably like wondering why I put red in the dark, but my red had got contaminated when I poured it in. So I really like blue, like the blue violet, where there's more blue than red, so I'm going to try to make a blue violet. It's just one of the colors I really like. I think this actually is going to look more violet than blue violet, so I might actually have to add more blue. But it'll work as a violet, so that's actually to our advantage. So I got a violet here. Now I just have to add blue to it to make blue violet. So when I want it to be more blue, I just add blue. This is going to be my red violet, so I just need to add a little bit of violet to the red. I'm going to have to add a little bit more because it's still pretty red or pink. I'll probably have to keep adding some, but you can see that it's pretty, the bright red is a pretty weak red. It's a very transparent color, and the ultramarine is a pretty weak color too. Neither one of them stand up to each other very well. As opposed to phthalo blue and fire red, those are very strong colors. They're very opaque. They stand up to each other. That's why when you mix them together, they look like the brownest purple you've ever seen, or violet. Now, each of these two, I also need to make one. So like here's your red. Tried to have them all set out for you. And then I also need a blue here. And a blue violet in the middle, right on the next side of it. So it goes like that, and a blue violet here. But those are the colors I'm going to use for my Analogous, my last one. And I might as well just go ahead and start painting with this brush to get it cleaned out. I can add white to it, black to it, and because I like to do that, I'm going to actually do that a lot on the painting while I'm painting. That's a little bit something more that people do when they're using a big acrylic canvas or an oil painting. They mix a lot of stuff on the canvas because the canvas will hold up to it. That's why you get that very painterly stroke that I did here. And that's okay, it's perfectly fine. I want you to be able to experiment. You know, I was kind of thinking about some things, and I think I said it in my last video, so while I get started, I'm going to say this again to everyone. You know, the whole point of you guys working on this is to kind of, you know, sitting there thinking, like, you're probably wondering why I'm making you do this and why I'm making you do these colors. This seems kind of silly. You know, what's the point? Well, while we're sitting here painting, you know, you're going to be at the end of your, school year. You may be at the end of your high school career, getting ready to graduate. What's the point of doing, learning about grayscale, or learning about high key or low key, or learning how to mix paint? What's the point? Well, for me, the point is, one, it's really relaxing. I mean, you could sit here and get lost in doing this. And how many times have you needed to de-stress over something? Is this something, if you're painting it, and you're working on it and you mess it up, is this, is this painting on a wall? Can you redo it? Can you cut out another cardboard square? Can you start over? Is this the end of the world? Do you have to compare this to something? Did I say, no, this has to look like a human face? Or did I say this has to look like a tulip? You know, you have not necessarily this huge or this very finite scale or rubric to compare yourself to. So many times you have classes where you have to compare yourself, or you have some number or some rating to compare yourself. And this is not one of those things. If you find yourself in a situation and you are really struggling personally or financially, or just, you know, you're having trouble looking at yourself each day, you know, maybe you find yourself without a partner in life, you know, and you are having trouble getting out of bed. This is something that you can trace circles on a board and you can complete it. And then you can paint around the circles and you're like, dude, I did something today. And those days come to people when you least expect it. I mean, who would have thought 6 months ago that we were going to be where we are right now? So this, I'm teaching you something that, you know, and sometime might be of value. I know people like to demean it and they make fun of it and they say that this is not. What if you're in a high stress job? What if you have, you know, what if you're a neurosurgeon? Or what if you have a lot of stress in your life? It's okay if you're in photography, you know, you can go out and take pictures. Or, you know, there's all kinds of ways to de-stress that are individual. They don't require people. They don't require others. They don't require necessarily a lot of money. You know, you don't have to have expensive paints to do this. It doesn't require a lot of knowledge. But you could really take this to a whole nother level. But I started thinking about, you know, how many times, you know, people are so concerned about points and if they did it right. And yes, I could make this so that I said you have to do it within this time frame, within this, it has to look exactly like this. Yeah, that I could do that. I don't necessarily think that is right for all of my students. I want you to enjoy parts of things that I find tangible and enjoyable and replicable, that you can replicate. Okay? If you're able to do this, great. Yours might not look like mine. I didn't say it had to look like mine. But you can make these colors. And that can be worth points. I talked to someone today, and they got 3 little sisters. And they said, little sisters are getting in their paint. Well, paint with your little sisters. Say, here's mine, and here's the one I did with my 2 little sisters. Okay, just don't spill the paint all over the place. Or, you know, maybe one of your sisters can draw it, and your 2 other sisters can help you mix paint, and then you can paint with them. It doesn't have to be all you. I mean, this can be a family thing. I bet you anything your little sisters will probably have as much fun doing it, or more, than you are. And it'll be something that your little sisters will definitely remember. But you can't compare it to a math or a science class. I mean, we could. But then you lose something. We could be studying about other artists, and I could make you write about them. But then somehow we're losing a little bit because you're trying to jam in so much other stuff. I don't know if we're genuinely learning. As much as you could. But if you sit back and and get some of this, I wonder if you might actually take this with you in a time where we really need to. And if you yourself don't like pink, then stay away from the bright red and use the fire red. Or maybe work blues and yellows. And there's a lot of different colors. I haven't even touched the black with this one. I think it's because I used it for the last one. No, I didn't use a palette with this, but I'm pretty comfortable not using a palette most of the time. I find I waste lots less paint when I don't use a palette. I don't use a lot of paint when I dip my brush anyway. Be cautious of that. It was one thing that I wanted to make sure I emphasized when I gave you less paint, is to not use as much paint. Now you notice when I use white, I try to swirl it a lot and give another color with it. Well, it's wet because it will dry really fast. But if you take a little white and a little color, you can make that swirl go really quick. And it looks really cool. Let's try this with maybe blue. Or violet? I don't know. Right there. It's only good right when you first put it down. If you paint it too much, it just all blends together, and then you lose that swirly effect. Alright, well I think that's probably good enough for right now. If I keep messing with it, I won't mess it up. Oh, I forgot one. Let's make that dark. Alright. Only reason I'm not putting a lot of time and effort into these is because I want to make sure that you guys see them and they're on video, and then I'm not boring you to death. But there is my Analogous. Probably should put a little bit more blue in it because there's not a lot of blue. Put a little bit more blue here. I know it's blue over red, so it's kind of gunky. Yeah! See how transparent that blue is? It's like super transparent. Now you at least get to see the blue. I might have to use a different blue. Okay, well, where's my Analogous? So, if you guys have turned in anything that does not look like this, if you turn it in a red, yellow, blue, white, black painting, that is not the point. I don't want to see the same colors I gave you back to me. Alright? I want to see creativity. If you don't think you're creative, we can work on that. Trace some things. Use the edges of other things to make lines. Look, circles. I know I saw this. I haven't got a paint on it yet, but I spray painted this by covering it with tape. I got a nick in it already. See, I cannot have anything nice at all. This is white. I lost my black. Oh, there's my black lid. All right, I'm out of here. I know I gotta do grayscale still. Bye.